Hello everyone and welcome back. Guess who has shin splints? If you guessed me, you would be right. We're not going to dive too much into that right now. We'll talk about that in a later video, but I figured because of that, right now would probably be the perfect time to show you guys my workout routine. Obviously, I'm not going to show you the running aspect of my workout routine because I'm trying to rest my legs so that I can recover faster, but also because it kind of depends on what I am training for as far as like what my runs look like. I will say no matter what, I typically run 3 to 4 days out of the week. Now, before we get into my leg day, it'll be probably a little bit obvious when you watch this, but I am no professional when it comes to any of this stuff. It took me a really long time to figure out what works best for me and my body, and I'm still figuring that out as time goes on. Plus, some of the moves in my routine were actually recommended to me by doctors. Before you try any of these moves or just anything in general, always run it past a doctor or professional. But with that being said, let's get into my leg day. As far as legs go, I've honestly always had trouble with making a really good plan for leg day, and I think I actually have something pretty decent for now, and that's simply because I made the change to doing single leg exercises, and I primarily did that to hopefully help improve my running since running is a single legged activity. I like to start with this stretch. It really helps me open up my hips, and it is just one of my favorite stretches to do right now. And these here, you're probably watching them thinking they can't be that hard, but if you're like me and you have bad balance and you do these, you will definitely have quite a challenge. I always like to do my wall sits early on simply because they are hard enough on their own, so I'm not going to do them once my legs are tired. For my kickbacks, I recently started using a band for them instead of the cable machine because a few weeks ago when I was on the cable machine, I got a sharp stabbing pain in my leg, so I'm a little bit scared to go back. I eventually will go back to the cable machine, but I just got to work on overcoming that fear first. I then do calf raises, and if you haven't noticed yet, I don't really wear shoes when I do this simply because it gives you better balance. And I would definitely recommend doing these in shoes though, and not slides either. I did try doing them without like any shoe at all, but there's just like this weird sensation of like the plate grinding against the bones of my feet. It's not fun, so I just risked it with the slides. I then take those same plates and prop my ankles up on them for squats. I do this simply because it helps engage your quads more, and that is the main reason for my runner's knee according to my doctor. Now, to help target the inside of my thigh, I do some lateral lunges, and then we go right back to hitting quads as my gym is kind of limited on what we have access to. I just put a kettlebell on my foot and do my own version of a leg extension. And then to end it off, I have been doing these, and I was already doing these before I got shin splints, but now I am really making sure I am doing them so that we can hopefully recover a little bit faster. For my pull day, this is probably the most consistent part of my routine. I think 90% of these moves have been in my plan since day one in the gym. If you don't know though, pull day primarily targets your back and your biceps, so I like to start off with cable rows. Now, for the longest time, I was using the V-bar grip for this, but I'd never truly felt like I was getting like the full range with it. So I saw someone using the bar, so I figured let me give it a try, and I definitely prefer that. I think I then go over and do lat pull downs, and after that I will switch the grip to the V-bar grip and use that here. I will say if you don't have access to a V-bar grip, you can also do these with just the handle and do single arm versions of these, which is really nice. I then go and do seated face pulls. I actually used to do these standing up, but like I said, I don't have the best balance, so I kind of would just find myself like wobbling too much, and because of that I wasn't able to do as much weight as I could sitting down. Now these next ones definitely look a little goofy, but they're for your forearms, and as someone who has pretty bad carpal tunnel, I am all for strengthening my forearms. To finish it all off, we end with hammer curls and Zottoman curls. I do a second upper body day, aka push day. This is to target my chest, my shoulders, and my triceps. I like to start with doing push-ups. Currently, I'm not at the point of doing proper push-ups like on the floor and everything, so I like to use the Smith machine because it will actually help me progress over time as I can lower the bar lower and lower till I can hopefully do a true push-up one day. I then move over to the bench, and I pretty much stay there the whole time. I start with a dumbbell bench press, and I can't believe it, but I finally broke away from the 10-pound dumbbells, and I can do 15 pounds finally. After that though, I sit the chair up and I do shoulder presses, and then I put the chair right back down and I do some chest flies and skull crushers. After that though, we're finally finished with the bench, and I do my trio of raises. I start out with lateral shoulder raises, and then cross body raises, and a front plate raise. As you can see from the plate raise, I'm actually using a dumbbell, and that is because I can do the 10-pound plate pretty comfortably, but I'm definitely not ready for the 25-pound plate, so I figured let's adapt here and work our way up by using a 15-pound dumbbell for now. I then go over to the cable machine to finish it off with tricep push downs, and I just actually started doing these cross body push downs, and Wow, is the muscle imbalance real? Overall, I feel like I have a really solid plan. Now, you might have noticed that there was one thing missing from this plan, and that would be core slash abs. If you watch my old workout routine video, you would know I had a abs slash core routine in there, but I kind of just wasn't loving it. I just didn't feel like I was really targeting my core as much as I would hope to. And I felt like it really needed some fine tuning, and I just haven't got around to really doing that. I've been so focused on the running that I'm forgetting to do that, even though your core is a really big part of running, so I need to get on that, and I will eventually do that. I am kind of starting to work on it. It's just hard because I haven't really found many moves that I love to do for it. The only other thing I didn't really show you was my like recovery, prehab, rehab that I have been doing for my legs. Obviously, in the past, I've talked about that I have runner's knee, and now we have shin splints. So I am probably going to show that routine in a later video once we get into the whole shin splint situation. But for now, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully, we will be back to running soon, so say a little prayer for me. But that is it for this week. Till then, roll the outro.